For as long as I played Warframe, I noticed that usually cannons are quite the popular weapons. Now, it's also true, not all of them may be terribly efficient or endgame weapons, but all of them are subjectively good fun to use. On that note though, have you ever tried an automatic rocket cannon? No? Hey guys, welcome back. As always, my name is Leyzar, and today we're gonna be diving deeper into the Grattler. As per the usual, I'm gonna have a mostly cheap build that most players can afford. And we also have the quote-unquote endgame setup with a Riven. That said though, please keep in mind that my builds and guides take a new player-friendly approach. I usually like to take my time and explain whatever the hell I feel is relevant, and I'm not apologizing for it. So in case you're a veteran and you already know most of the stuff, you can either skip ahead or have a bit of patience. And with that out of the way, let's jump into the Grattler. Let's begin by checking out how the weapon handles without any mods equipped, and for that, just a couple of free shots. This, my friends, is a quad-barreled automatic cannon, absolutely freaking insane. Now, it will fire these explosive projectiles, and we got two sources of damage. One, the projectile physically hitting the target, which will be dealing about 200 total damage, and second, of course, the explosion. The explosion deals 100 total damage, and the range isn't stipulated anywhere, but to my eye it looks about 5 to 7 meter-ish. The range again is quite good, and this weapon handles like a dream. The recoil, almost non-existent, and considering the fact that we are firing explosive projectiles, it doesn't really matter all that much. The fire rate is 6.25, but you start off at 4.17. You have about a 1 second spool up time until you get to the full fire rate. And I think, my friends, that is pretty much it. She handles pretty nicely. Let's go into vehicles. You're gonna have to select your Grattler, and you will have to install a Gravimag on top of your Orokin Catalyst, which doubles the mod capacity. That's only if you want to use it as a heavy weapon. By the way, if you're ever interested in these stats and where do I get them from, hop on over to the wiki. Every arc gun has two tabs, Atmosphere mode and Arcwing mode. When you're using an arc gun on the ground, you want to look at Atmosphere mode to know exactly what you're dealing with. We got an accuracy of 25, but to be honest, we don't really care. Critical chance is good at 25% and a solid critical multiplier of 2.0x. The fire rate is 4.17, but again, you spool up to 6.25. Magazine of 30, quick reload at 2 seconds, and punch through of 5 meters, which is horrible. This is the worst thing that you can have on the Grattler, because your rockets will be going through your initial target and explode behind them. So honestly, punch through on this weapon is 100% a bad idea, and I will demonstrate in gameplay. Riven disposition 3 out of 5, which means that the Rivens are decent and right now are super cheap for the Grattler. Also, we got a solid status chance of 25%, trigger auto, impact, puncture, slash, and blast. Yeah, there's blast in there. There's no way to get around it, but in fact, it works in the weapon's favor from a, well, skewed point of view. But let's hop into a standard build for the Grattler. And we got damage with the Rubedo line barrel, multi-shot with dual rounds, critical chance, critical damage combo between hollowed bullets and parallax scope. Now we also have critical focus. I'm aware that not a lot of you guys have this mod. If you don't want to farm it from Profit Taker down in Orvalis, what you can do is fuse mods. You don't have a fantastic chance at getting critical focus, but you do have a chance. From the PC trade chat right now, I think it's about 50-60 plat, maybe even a tad more. And we also got two 60-60 mods forming corrosive between charged bullets and contamination casing. Now, I built corrosive on the weapon because I'm gonna be shooting corrupted heavy gunners level 120. But if you're going down to Fortuna to shoot some corpus, then build gas on the weapon. It works fantastically well. Against the infested, heat normally is more than enough to deal with them, and the Grattler does fantastic versus them because it is a pretty solid AoE weapon. Keep in mind though that the infested have 4 different health types, and their elite units are still vulnerable to corrosive damage. And we still have one more mod slot left on the weapon. The meat and bones are here for the build. The last slot doesn't matter all that much. Go for Sabot rounds? 100% no. 60% damage is simply not enough, and the punch through works against us, so we're going to be skipping Sabot rounds entirely. automatic trigger on the Grattler is just freaking hilarious, and I'll demonstrate that just a tad later. What you can also do is go for marked target, especially for any gas build. For example, go for marked target, 120% status chance when aiming. So basically what you get out of 60 mods. This one works quite well. And also what you can do is increase your elemental combo, keeping in mind the IPS rules in Warframe. Impact, puncture, and slash, the physical types, have a 4 times greater chance at proccing over elemental types such as blast, corrosive, heat, you name it. So in my case, I'm gonna go with 120% extra electricity. Now these mods are a lot more powerful on arc guns than they are on primary and secondary weapons, because you don't get 90% of an element, you get 120%, that's 50% more. So bear that one in mind. Initially we're gonna go like this, but before we do, I wanna make sure I'm not cheating with any kind of Warframe buffs. We're good. Now you guys probably can tell I'm just a little bit excited about this weapon, because for the longest time I avoided it. I didn't think it could do much. At the end of the day, it's a very old arc gun and it didn't really make all that much sense. But the Grattler is a fantastic weapon. We're not gonna go for headshots, we're not gonna go for body shots, we will go straight console friendly for ground shots, because this is the optimal way of using this weapon. And in just a couple of seconds, my friends, I unloaded 30 shots and almost all of the targets were completely annihilated. This is why we don't go for headshots. There's my explosion, way over there. Bad idea with punch rule on the Grattler, honestly. You lose so much if you go like that. As you saw there, the fire rate is super solid, which means we might have some issues with ammo, and we can talk about ammo when it comes to arc guns. It's not as bad as it used to be, simply because now you can get heavy gun ammo during normal average everyday missions from elite units, heavy units as the likes to call them. And as you can see, you do have one additional advantage with the Grattler. I'm not only destroying these targets, but I'm also applying some heavy duty crowd control thanks to the innate blast the weapon has. So there you go. In this case, blast works for us rather than against us. Now I want to show you the fire rate. It's just fantastic. It's not a very smart idea, definitely not. It will cause ammo issues, but screw it, it's fun. We're gonna drop electrified barrel and we're gonna go with automatic trigger. Now if you really want some extra uptime out of the weapon, in your option slot you can plug in ammo chain with 100% ammo maximum. Keeping in mind that this will not increase the cooldown on your arc gun, it basically increases your uptime. And there's one more thing that you can do, is go for carrier and or carrier prime. Now it's true, carrier will not be able to transform any type of ammo into heavy weapon ammo, but it does still work with the increased ammo capacity by 25% part. So there you go, a bit more uptime with carrier. Same targets as before, only this time with that fantastic fire rate. Now take a look at this. How can you not love something like this? Yes, it's not very smart, it may not be the best build in the world, but it's extremely fun, and you can just completely annihilate everything that stands before you. Honestly, I love this weapon, it's absolutely bloody beautiful. I guess the one gripe I have with it is that it kind of looks a bit scuffy, doesn't it? Let's talk about Riven mods. You guys love Riven mods, don't you? Right now, Grattler Rivens are super cheap, so if you like what you're seeing from the weapon, I would grab one right now. We're talking about 20, 30, maybe 50 plat. This one is a loaner from a friend, and we got critical damage, electricity, and minus damage to corpus. You're probably wondering about a stat priority when it comes to Rivens. I would go to critical chance up until 100%, then focus on multi-shot, then critical damage. So critical chance up to 100, multi-shot, and critical damage and or damage. That doesn't matter all that much. We got 160-60 and 120 mod. No prime mod, sadly, for arc guns just yet. Once again, the same targets as before. Corrupted heavy goons, level 120. Another thing that I do like about arc guns, and I don't like at the same time, is the fact that, yay, I get some crowd control when I call down my gun so I can knock everything back. But the animation still kind of takes a while. And of course, a Riven such as this Dispo 3 will definitely make a difference on the weapon, and you can just annihilate everything with great ease. Keeping in mind that this weapon does have a good amount of critical chance on it, what you can try to do when you meet a pack of enemies or an enemy or whatever, try to hit the wall behind them. You might want to try to get that critical damage multiplier on a headshot. So for example, if your enemy is behind a wall or with its back to a wall, just hit the wall behind it above the head so you can get that explosion in the head area roughly. And I think, my friends, that is pretty much it. There's still one more thing which I want to do, of course, bump up everything with Warframe buffs, and for that, who better than Lady Mirage Prime? Harrow? No, Lady Mirage today, for obvious reasons, my friends. Now, we don't have an aura that will increase the damage of your arc gun, so what you can do is go for something like corrosive projection, if you're fighting Grenier, of course. To be completely honest with you guys, the Grattler doesn't really need an aura to pop up the damage, and what we're gonna be doing is going with 1 Arcane Avenger, 2 Arcane Avenger, because we don't have any type of Arcane that will be increasing the damage. Rage doesn't work, Precision doesn't work, but Avenger does work for arc gun, so double Avengers, and of course, Lady Mirage herself. Same targets as before, only this time we're gonna be unpausing the AI so they can hit me and I can get my buff from Arcane Avenger. And of course, Mirage's free ability for a fantastic damage increase, and we're also gonna be using her lovely clones as well. And what I wanna do is carpet bomb using the clones. That is just freaking fantastic, man. I love this gun to death, and honestly, it makes me wish that arc guns were just a bit more popular. Considering their power level, it's not something ultra fantastic. Let's be honest here, there are plenty of other primary weapons which will be outpacing arc guns. I honestly don't understand why DE feels this need to kind of limit their usability through ammo, for cooldown. Stop it. Just stop it and let us use them normally. I guarantee you the popularity will go up. As for the Grattler, my friends, I think it's pointless to say that I love this weapon and I highly recommend it. It's a lot of good fun. It's got plenty of AoE capability and plenty of damage. As always, my name is Leyzar. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. If you have any sorts of feedback for me, by all means, drop it in the comment section down below. Also, in the comment section down below, if you guys want to suggest a particular piece of content. Now, in all honesty, I can't exactly promise you that it'll be done by next time, or even within a week, because sometimes these things take a bit of time to make. But what I can promise you is that I will be reading for each and every comment. You can also find me on Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, all the usual places. And if you love the content, consider supporting us via Patreon. Until next time, my friends. Bye-bye.